Hey, what's happening, guys? Mike from Metacomics coming at you with a quick comic book review for Outcast number 3, written by Robert Kirkman. This is a fantastic series, and if you haven't picked it up yet, you need to do so immediately. Basically, the series premise, since I've not done a review of these issues before, I'll go ahead and give a brief overview of the premise of the series. Basically, it's about demonic possession. It has a lot of spiritual overtones, a lot of discussion of religion and faith, and it's very different in most of the stuff going on in comic books right now, and I really enjoy it. Now, this particular issue, it's craziness. There's crazy demons biting off people's tongues. There's a reverend who gets drunk out of his mind. And then there's the main character, Kyle, who kind of digs deep into his pain and suffering and loss and loneliness due to having to separate from his wife in what can only be described so far as some type of demonic encounter that he had with her. I don't want to give too much away because the series is really, really good. Now, there's a lot that I loved about this issue, and there's very little that I disliked. So, starting with the things that I liked, there's really outstanding character development. This is very much a traditional type of Robert Kirkman story, so there's lots of build-up as far as the characters are concerned. There's great dialogue. The whole scene with the drunk reverend playing poker with some other religious buddies, really insightful, really gives depth to the guy's character. There's a scene where the guy is praying and repenting for doing that particular activity and just talking about his lack of faith and just praying to God. This intimate scene with him in the bathroom shaving, it was really kind of interesting to see. Then there's the main character has a great interaction with one of the other characters, a new character, some older man that's one of his neighbors, and they really dig into the pain and loneliness deal with him there. It's just really, really good. The artwork is fantastic. It really sets the tone for this story, and also kind of captures the loneliness and kind of the hopelessness that you get from this small town where Kyle and this minister live, and the demonic activity that's going on there. It feels kind of creepy and eerie. The artwork is just perfect for it. Now, bad, other than a lot of the character development, not a lot actually pushed the overall story of the series forward by much. There was some, but not a whole lot. So it felt like there was a lot that went on, but not a lot actually happened to push the story forward. The pacing of the issue is very, very slow. It's even slower than Walking Dead. And I think The Walking Dead is a very slow-paced book, but I think for the most part that works as a plus for both books because it gives more time to set up story and set up characters to the point where you actually really care what happens to the characters in the stories. Unlike a lot of comic books where, they're just kind of rush to get to the action and then just move on. That's kind of the story that Robert Kirkman tells. He likes to take his time. So, if you're someone who enjoys good depth of character and good drama as well as some decent action here and there, then I would say this is probably a good fit for your particular tastes. Now, as far as themes, I'm going to flip my notes here. One of the themes I picked up on was that everybody has a story. And it's a good idea at times to stop thinking of only ourselves and to get to know our neighbors and friends and get to hear their story. People that we've come in conflict with, it's always good to hear their story before passing some big final judgment on someone. So that was something I thought was really cool that popped out at me. Even those that we think have the strongest faith have doubts and weaknesses. So, that doesn't mean that their belief system or whatever is weak and should be tossed aside, but that should be a point of which we relate to these individuals, especially like the pastor in this story who struggles with doubt about God and about different things going on in his life. He's an average human being. He has problems. Just because he's a pastor doesn't mean that he has some kind of super faith and is immune to doubt and fear and worry and everything else. So I thought that was really cool too. Since the pace was so slow in this and there wasn't a whole lot of plot movement, I did give it an 8 out of 10 instead of a 9 out of 10, which is what I was originally going to go with, just because it really seemed painfully slow. It was just much slower than the other two issues and some of the stuff I'm used to from The Walking Dead. So it's a very minor gripe. It was still a very, very good issue, very solid. definitely worth picking up the series. Check it out. Get on board right now while it's only 3 issues in. You won't regret it. All right, guys. Be sure to check out my other videos for reviews that I have. I'm also doing a podcast. I have the podcast episode 2 where we talk about Daredevil and the positive impact of religion. Oddly enough, sort of what we're talking about here. And there's also video comic book reviews for a number of issues that came out over the past week. So I try to do those weekly. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up to date with all the new content coming out. And make sure you like and I already said subscribe. Like and comment down below on what you thought about Outcast number 3 and what you're thinking about the Outcast series so far. I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with the review. So be sure to do that down below. All right, guys, I will check you on the flip-flop later.